There are a lot of people in the industry who have helped, propose the ideas and the concepts behind electronic books and electronic readers. But what drew me into this business was the fact that, in order to really meet the customer needs, the way I looked at it, there needed to be three things that came together. So, one of them was just the evolution of standards, so that you could get electronic material to these things in a standard way. And if you go back about 10 years, you would see, 20 plus different standards for, even just putting electronic books, let alone all of the different formats for all the other text material you might want to put and display on an electronic reading device, or the graphics material. Another key is kind of the wireless technology, because having a reading device that always needs to be tethered to another computer or another intelligent device has some applicability, but wouldn't foster huge growth. The third piece was the display, because if you are building a reader, it's all about the reading experience. And so, kind of like e-ink, especially for the top layer, electrophoretic material technology, had done a good job of, kind of getting us to the point where it really built a nice reading experience. But you were still putting that on a backplane that was essentially an active matrix display, which was using silicon and glass technology. So it would be hard to build something relatively large, like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And Plastic Logic had been developing core technology in flexible displays. The most fundamental thing is why even use e-ink in the first place, right? We have LCD displays, kind of like that are ubiquitous, that do a great job, and kind of like are built in very large volumes, have gone up the technology maturity curve so that they're very reliable, robust, low cost. Why can't you use that as a reader? And it's I think two things. One is fundamentally a backlit technology, right? So you're always shooting photons into people's eyes, and it does cause, at least studies have shown, and I believe it from my personal experience, that it does cause eye strain. So I don't think it's a very comfortable reading experience for long periods of time. And then secondly, you can't read it in natural lighting conditions, right? It's just, it doesn't do good. You just take it outside and you can't read things. We decided to base our product design 100% on touchscreen. So, we don't have any other buttons on the device. It's very natural for people to use gestures and people to, either mark up or annotate things, or kind of like turn the edges of a piece of paper, or, switch pages. It's just a very natural experience if you can touch it. We've, been thinking about not just book reading, but newspapers, magazines, user-generated material like emails you get, or Microsoft Word documents, or PDF, whether they be reference manuals, or kind of just any type of material. Kind of like, how do you want to interact with that on kind of an electronic device that is mobile and that you can have with you all the time? Electronic is so powerful, right? If you do it well, right, and the technology disappears for people, and you really get to the pure reading experience, I think these things will start to evolve, and I think we will see less printed matter and more things being delivered electronically, and I think you will see it on portable devices like we're building at Plastic Logic.